ஒரு சிறு கல்லாய் பிறவி தரவேணும். கமல மலரினைகள் அணைய என உளம் இற்றிடும் பவமாற்றிடும் என கமல மலரினைகள் அணைய என உலகிற்றிடும் பவமாற்றிடும் என புல்லாய் பிறவி தரவேணும். கண்ணா புனிதமான பல கோடி பிறவி தந்தார் பிருந்தாவனமதில் ஒரு புல்லாய் பிறவி தரவேணும். கண்ணா ஒரு கணம் பதம் படுமென் மேலே, ஒரு கணம் பதம் படுமென் மேலே, மறுகணம் நான் உயர்வே மென்மேலே. ஒரு கணம் பதம் படுமென் மேலே, மறுகணம் நான் உயர்வே மென்மேலே. திருமேனி என் மேலே அமர்ந்திடும் ஒரு காலே, திருமேனி என் மேலே அமர்ந்திடும் ஒரு காலே. திருமலரென மலரடி பெயர்ந்து உனை தொடர்ந்து ராதைக்கு இடம் தருவேனே. திருமேனி என் மேலே அமர்ந்திடும் ஒரு காலே, திருமலரடி மலரடி பெயர்ந்து உனை தொடர்ந்து ராதைக்கு இடம் தருவேனே. திசை திசை எங்கினும் பரவிடும் குழலிசை மயங்கி வரும் பல கோபி அருணனே. திசை திசை எங்கினும் பரவிடும் குழலிசை மயங்கி வரும் பல கோபி அருணனே. சிறந்தர சமிகு நடனியாடவும் கண்ணா, சிறந்தர சமுகு நடனியாடவும் சுதியொடு லயமிகு கலந்து பாடவும் சிறந்தது. லெப்பிலே வரும் களிப்பிலே எனக்கு இணையாரென மகிழ்வேனே. திளைப்பிலே வரும் களிப்பிலே எனக்கு இணையாரென மகிழ்வேனே. தவமுகு சுருளோடு முறி வரும் ஏலா தனித்த பெரும்பெயர் அடைவேனே. எவ்வுயிர்க்கும் உள் கலக்கும் இறைவனே, யமுனை துறைவனே, புல்லாய் பிறவி தரவேணும். கண்ணா புனிதமான பல கோடி பிறவி தந்தார் பிருந்தாவனமதில் ஒரு புல்லாய் பிறவி தரவேணும். கண்ணா
நமः परमर्षिभ्यो नमः परमर्षिभ्यः. अन्तरायतिमिरोपशान्तये शान्तपावनमचिन्त्यवैभवम् तन्नरं वपुषि कुञ्जरं मुखे मन्महे किमपि तुन्दिलं महः. गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः. गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. यस्यान्तन्नादिमध्यं न हि करचरणं नामगोत्रं न सूत्रं नो जातिर्नैव वर्णा न भवति पुरुषो नानपुंसं न च स्त्री नाकारं नो विकारं न हि जनिमरणं नास्ति पुण्यं न पापं तत्त्वं नो तत्त्वमेकं सहजसमरसं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि. सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. मौनव्याख्या प्रकटितपरब्रह्मतत्त्वं युवानं वर्षिष्ठान्तेवसदृशिगणैरावृतं ब्रह्मनिष्ठैः आचार्येन्द्रं करकलितचिन्मुद्रमानन्दरूपं स्वात्मा रामं मुदितवदनं दक्षिणामूर्तिमीडे. वेदान्तार्थविभासकाय यतये शान्ताय सन्न्यासिने नानावादिनगेन्द्रसङ्घपवये योगीन्द्रवन्द्याय च मोहध्वान्तदिवाकराय भगवत्पादाभिधां बिभ्रते तस्मै भाष्यकृते नमोऽस्तु सततं पूर्णाय बोधात्मने अपारसच्चित्सुखवारिराशेः यस्योर्मिमात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि देहं मृण्मयवज्जडात्मकमहं बुद्धिर्न तस्यास्त्यतो नाहं तत्तदभावसुप्तिसमये सिद्धात्मसद्भावतः कोऽहं भावयुतः कुतो वरधिया दृष्ट्वात्मनिष्ठात्मनां सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचलशिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीं नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावः दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः सङ्गस्तेषूपजायते सङ्गात् सञ्जायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशः बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. These are the verses that we were contemplating upon. Very clear indication is given about how we get caught. The mind is samsara. In Vedanta we say avidya is the cause for bandha, bondage. Avidya means ignorance. Shankaracharya says in Vivekachudamani, very clear definition for avidya. What is avidya means? Shankaracharya says, what you call as mind is avidya. Nahyasti avidya manaso atirikta. Manohi avidya bhavabandha hetu. Tasmin vinashte sakalam vinashtam. Vijrumbhidesmin sakalam vijrumbhate. Apart from the mind, there is no avidya. Manohi avidya. Mind indeed is the avidya. bhavabandha hetu. It puts you into the imaginary, illusory bondage of bhava. Bhava means becoming. That is what our mind is constantly doing, no? Becoming. Now I am something. Slowly, by doing something, I will become something. Now I am in bondage. Slowly, by doing some meditation, I am going to reach some state. This is called bhava roga. This is a disease. The mind is ill, sick with this disease. It is constantly in a train of becoming. Because its becoming never gets satisfied, it takes another body. So, bhavabandha hetu, this mind is the cause for this samsara bandha. Tasmin vinashte, when that mind is dropped. When you transcend the mind, tasmin vinashte sakalam vinashtam, everything disappears, everything vanishes. When the mind tasmin vijrumbhite, when it projects, everything comes up. That we know every day in sleep. When the mind goes inside, everything disappears. When the mind appears back, everything comes back. So, this mind is avidya. And how does the mind bind? Samsara, what we call, is also nothing but mind. Samyak sarati, constantly it is on the move. That is mind. It is flux. Change. That is mind. That is samsara. So, how does the mind bind? By brooding. That is the beginning. And what is the cause for brooding? The ignorance that something pleasing is there. You do not know what it is. Due to ignorance, you take delight in some object, and that object enters your mind. Object or person or event or something. It enters your mind and you constantly brood over it. This brooding, sangasteshu upajayate. The mind takes delight in that. It becomes attached to that object or person or thing or event, or even that idea, that ideal. Somewhere it gets stuck. Sangat sanjayate kamaha. These are all things which we have discussed. Purvakatha prasangaha. That is what we are doing now. What we already spoke yesterday, that we are recollecting. Sangat sanjayate kamaha. By constant association, desire to possess, to own, it comes. Kamat krodho bhijayate. When that desire is not satisfied, something obstructs that desire, it becomes anger, terrible fury. And I said yesterday that anger is not simply anger, it also means complete explosion in your physical body, mind, psychic body, physical body. It is called Tridosha Kopa. Ayurveda said that. So when you have tremendous passion and it doesn't find fulfillment, or even if it finds fulfillment, all the nervous system is affected, body is affected. There is total imbalance of the three doshas. That is kapha, vata and pitta. Sattva guna, rajo guna and tamo guna, they gets disturbed, and this kapha, vata, pitta also gets disturbed, and they influence your intellect, your decision, everything is influenced by them. So krodhat bhavati sammoha. Next step is you get deluded. No more right decision, no more the will is pure. The will is totally corrupted by desires. It is influenced by desires. So moha happens. Sammohat smriti vibramaha. Once you get totally deluded in the spell, under the spell, then all the shastras that you have studied, all the teachings that you know, all the guidance that you got from great saints or sages or elderly people, wise people, everything is forgotten. You get confused. Smriti Bhramshat. These things are collectively done when the society itself goes in a wrong road. Smriti Bhramshat Buddhi Nasha. When that Smriti Bhramsha happens, next step is totally, as we said yesterday, the right reasoning power, the intuitive power is gone. The power which tells you there is God, there is self-realization, you can attain freedom in this life, that very power is closed. And Bhagavan says, with his voice, with his words, through his own mouth, Krishna says, pranashyati. Such a person destroys himself. He gets perishes. So what to say? Ishvara himself has given the verdict. So that is the step by step one person falls. The Vivek Chudamani, there is a verse very connected to this that we will see now. This verse itself Acharya takes very beautiful. So when your mind broods over Vishayas, dhyanam karoti, that is how these advertisement people also take clue from these shlokas. Constantly tell them about something, useless thing, and ultimately they will get hypnotized. That is necessary. By constant listening, about 25 years back, somewhere I was telling Ramayana. Then the Sandarbha came where this Kaikeyi gets herself hypnotized by Manthara. She constantly tells something nonsense that Rama will banish you to forest, she will banish Bharata also. Then she believes. She had so much love for Rama, but that was completely corrupted by Manthara's ear biting. She was hypnotized. So then I just as an example I told, even now Coimbatore people talk about it. Jocularly they say, because that day I told, in those days there was no idea of this mop. Buying some cloth, something for cleaning the floor. We used to take some old cloth and use it as cleaning. Wiping cloth. That in our village we call it as chana churne. So that was the word I used. That was what. So that time we had no idea of this using the mop. So then I just as an example gave that these advertising people can constantly tell you that you need a special cloth to wipe the floor. Without that special cloth, special some broomstick, how can you wipe, cleanse the floor in your house. They will constantly put this idea in your mind. Ultimately, you will feel that without a special cloth, special broomstick, you cannot cleanse your house. This idea can be put into your mind. That I just as an example gave. Now you see what has happened. Every house we do not have no idea of that chana cholne. All that special mop only. Without mop we do not know how to do wiping, cleaning the house. So just I said, because constantly thinking about a thing. Vishayeshu avishacchetaha sankalpayati tadgunan. I told you that Viveka Chudamani has these verses that we will see now. Vishayeshu avishacchetaha sankalpayati tadgunan. Samyak sankalpanat kamaha. Kamat pumsaha pravartanam. When the mind constantly broods over sensory objects, enters the sense objects, it reflects about their pleasing nature, pleasurable nature. It broods over them, reflects upon their qualities. Then what happens? Samyak sankalpanat, by constant brooding, kamaha. You want to possess it, you want to experience it, enjoy it. Desire comes. And next step is kamat pumsaha pravartanam. Then the person is driven. The drive is so powerful, it pushes you to activity, to indulge, to do something, to get something, to accrue, to possess that thing. So this is like a ball falling from the top floor to the last floor. Lakshachudam ched yadi chittam ishate. The mind just moves a little bit away from the goal, then bahirmukham. It becomes outward, extrovert. Sannipadet tadastadaha. From one step, it starts falling down. That is called pramada. Pramada means a spiritual fall. The word is pramada. It is used by Buddha. It is used in Mahabharata by Sanat Kumara. Buddha also says pramada is death. For a spiritual aspirant, losing sight of the goal is death. Forgetting the truth is death. Giving up one's discipline is death. So it is called pramada. Pramado machuna padam, says Buddha. This is pamada. They don't use this like Tamil. A little bit difference from Sanskrit. This is Prakrita Bhasha. Pali. That is the language in which Buddha spoke. Magadhi. So here he says, and in Mahabharata it is Pramado Mrityuhu. Pramado vai Mrityuraham bravimi, says Sanat Kumara. So you fall. Prachuta keli kandukaha sopana pangtau patito yathatata. And the process, the step by step fall is described here by constantly thinking, brooding over objects. We are discussing about sthita prajna lakshana, that we should not forget. The state where the mind roosts in the self. It no more goes out. It is stable in that spiritual experience. That is called sthita prajna lakshana. But you just itch the mind with the mind. That is the word used in Bhagavata. Kandutihi. Kanduti means itching. Just itch the mind with a thought. Thoughts. Then thoughts comes, constantly thinking. Ramana Bhagavan said, to think is not your real nature. I don't think any sage in any tradition has given us such a Mahavakya. Do not think. Do not harbor thoughts. Refuse to keep thoughts in the mind. Let the thoughts come and go. Do not associate with them. Buddha uses a word, upeksha. Upeksha means ignoring thoughts. Let thoughts come. Do not pay attention to them. Do not put oil into it. Ramana Bhagavan also says, somebody said, Bhagavan, so many thoughts come in my mind. What should I do? Bhagavan said, ignore them. Scorch them by ignoring them. You just ignore upeksha. So, when so much thoughts like hornets coming, honeybees coming out of the hive, from the heart, so many thoughts come. And the cause for thoughts is, if you seek why the thoughts are happening, it is because of some attachment. Only to an attached object thoughts will happen. So, Vishayeshu avishati cheta. The cheta means the mind enters into the objects. It involves. Sankalpayati. It starts sankalpa. There is a shloka in Mahabharata. Perhaps Bhishma has said, the secret of mind, where he says, Kama janami te moolam. Sankalpat tvam hi jayase. Natvam sankalpayishyami. Samulastvam vinakshyasi. A sadhaka is telling his mind. So much desire comes in the mind. So he says, oh desire. Kama means desire. Desire. I know your root. The root cause, the source. You are born from sankalpa. By brooding. So now I have decided, taken a resolve to stop this activity, this brooding activity. Natvam sankalpayishyami. No more I will lend my will to that sankalpa shakti. That sankalpa, I will not associate myself with it. Natvam sankalpayishyami. Then what happens? Samulastvam vinakshasi. Root, you will get erased from the root. So, tataha swarupa vibramsha. Now we will see the verse. So if the mind starts sankalpa, desire comes. Then when desire comes, what happens? Swarupa vibramsha. Here also in Viveka Chudamani, Shankaracharya is discussing this topic on the process of samadhi. Samadhi means the mind should be brought to a state of quietude. The constant awareness of the self. When the mind gets into the trap of sankalpa, swarupa vibramsha. Through inadvertence, that is the word that they use, inadvertence, a slip inside. What happens? The man may deviate from his real nature, means he will forget his real self. When you more and more contemplate, do nididhyasana, atma vichara, you will understand how this happens. You try to hold on to your real nature, your existence. A cloud of sankalpa comes and it showers so much imagination, so much desire, so much pleasure, pain, everything. You are overtaken by that. And you forget that still, that silent reality which is the substratum. So, Swarupa Vibramshaha. What happens when you forget the Swarupa? Vibrashtastu patatyadhaha. He falls. The Jiva Bhava sprouts. This ego arises. Patitasya what happens? Nashaha. Tasmat patitasya vinanasham punarnaroha ikshyate. If once you fall, it is very difficult to climb back. Sangalpam varjayet tasmad sarvanarthasya karanam. See, when you climb a mountain, you can very, very, very slowly only you can climb. But falling, when you do mountaineering, very slowly, with great difficulty, you can climb. All panting, you climb. But falling, it happens in a second. Will it be possible to climb again? Who will climb? After a fall, there will be no difficulty of climbing at all again. So over. That is why pranashyati says. Tataha patitasya vinanasham punarnaroha ikshate. Tasmat sankalpam varjayet tasmat. So, there is a very famous book, all especially devotees of Bhagavan Ramana, many of them have read that I am that. Nisargadatta Maharaj. I have not read it completely, but one or two important things I remember. One beautiful statement where Nisargadatta Maharaj says, for a beginner in spiritual life, so many sadhanas can be prescribed. But for a person who has reached a certain state of meditative poise, there is only one teaching, that is constant, rigorous refusal to harbor thoughts. Very, very remarkable insight. For a sadhaka who has already done lot of manana and nididhyasana, he should be on guard not to allow the shrubs of thoughts to crop up. The mushroom of emotions to sprout here and there in the mind. That is the only thing that he has to do. Sankalpam varjayet tasmat. What happens sankalpam? Sarvanarthasya karanam. It is the cause for all anartha, all trouble. Apathyani hi vastuni vyadhigrasto yatha utsrijet. The example given is apathyani. In Ayurveda, pathyam means along with the medicine, pathya seva is necessary. What food to take, what food to avoid. And real Ayurvedic physician will give more importance to pathyam than the medicine. So generally there is a saying, if you have pathyam, no medicine is necessary. If you do not have pathyam, medicine is useless. So pathyam is very important. So if you take medicine and do all apathyam, no use. Like that, this example is given here. So when the mind pranashyati, as that person is doomed. Dhyayato vishayan pumsa sangasteshu upadayate. You can put this verse in a reverse form. The first step, what did we say? If the mind gets attached to something, it broods over it. And it wants to possess it. You use it in bhakti. You constantly listen about Bhagavan. You are in association with saints. Constantly thought about Bhagavan comes in your mind. And next step is you get attached to satsanga. You get attached to saints. You get attached to Bhagavad Katha. You get attached to Bhagavan's form. You get attached to Bhagavan's guna. And next step is kama. Kama is turned towards Bhagavan, means it is bhakti. Means you want to possess Bhagavan. You want to realize God. You want to experience God. Become one with God. So that kind of desire arises towards God. And naturally, whatever comes in between you and God, whatever obstructs that desire, worldly desire, when the desire is obstructed, kamat krodho bijayate. Krodha comes, anger comes. Like that, in bhakti also, when any worldly object that obstructs your realization, you become angry. That anger is vairagya. That is dispassion. See, the whole thing changes. It becomes dispassion. In Manikya Vachakar, in Tiruvachakam says, கோபம் மிகுந்து, உலக விஷயங்களில் கோபம் மிகுந்து. It says in Tiruvachakam, you had anger towards worldly objects. Means no more I want these things, all are renounced. So krodhat bhavati sammoha. In worldly objects you get indulgent and angry, and then you get deluded. But in bhakti, you get under the spell of Bhagavan. Kripalabha happens there. Here pranashyati, there you are rescued, you become free, you attain the Lord. So that is a different process. So we will continue this. So next verse. So how should we live in the world? See, we are surrounded by worldly objects. Constantly the world is invading into your awareness through all the senses. You cannot avoid. So how to live in the world? A very beautiful pointer is given. Next sloka. Ragadvesha viyuktaistu Vishayanindriyaischaran Atmavasyairvidheyatma Prasadamadighachati. Bhagavan says, Prasadam adhigachati. You will get prasada. We know only one prasada, something to eat. You go to temple, you have prasada. In our childhood, we will go to all this katha or puja. The only goal is, after finishing that, we will get prasada. Means some sweet to eat. Some shundal, something we will get. That is prasada. Only that prasada we know. But the prasada that Bhagavan says is different. Bahir nirodha, bahye niruddhe manasah prasannata. Vivek Chudamani. When the outer world is shut, especially for a seeker, for a sadhaka, not for the worldly person. When the outer world is shut, the mind becomes prasanna, distilled. It becomes pleasant. It becomes, see, the word pleasant has come from prasada. The mind becomes tranquil, poised. It becomes quiet. So, bahye niruddhe manasah prasannata. And when the mind is sufficiently quiet, Paramatma darshanam. You will have the vision, the realization of Paramatma, Bhagavan, Atma, the real nature of the self is revealed. So that prasannata comes. But naturally, how to block the world? It is not possible. We are in the world. We are dealing with worldly things. We are involved in the world. Through all the senses, world is entering inside. And our mind through all the senses is going out, contacting the world. Only one way is there to stop this, that is to die. If you are alive, the very sign of life is this vyavahara, this contact with the world. So how to avoid that? How to live in this world without getting hurt, without becoming impure? So that is what Bhagavan says in next verse. Ragadvesha viyuktaistu Vishayan indriyaischaran. Very beautiful. No? There is no compromise. Bhagavan says you have to move in the world, and with your senses you have to walk in the path of sensory objects. You cannot escape. Vishayani indriyaihi charan. Charan means moving. Vishayan means objects. Indriyehi means through the senses. with the senses you have to move amidst the senses, sensory objects. You live in the you are in the river of sensory objects. You are flowing there. You cannot escape. You cannot jump out. So you live in the world. There is no other go. But ragadvesha vyuktaistu indriyaihi. The senses are moving about, but you have removed the poison from them. The difficulty comes from attachment and aversion. Raga and dvesha. You remove raga and dvesha and just happily move about in your prarabdha. And one more word, atmavashyehi. Self-restrained. Or you can say they are under the sway of the Atman. The power of the Atman, the light of the Atman has fallen, has flooded into the sensory plane. So with the power of bhakti or kripa shakti, you are living in the world. That is the, see, Ramakrishna used to say, a very beautiful village example, when a father and child goes to marketplace, the child will say, I will hold your hand. A intelligent father will not allow it. He will say, I will hold you. If the child holds the father's hand, he will leave it and go according to his whims and fancies. But if the father is holding the hand, there is no way that the child will get lost. So, you must be in the control of Bhagavan, in the holding of Bhagavan. So, Atma Vashyehi, in the Vasha of Atma. The Atma's Vasha is there. Atma is holding, and in the power of the Atman you are working in the world. Raga Dvesha Vyuktaistu Vishayan Indriyehi Charan. Without attachment or aversion, the senses are active and such a person is doing his duty work in the world. Vishayan Indriyehi Charan. Thus he goes on doing his duties. Swadharma. Prasadam adhigacchati. His mind becomes pleasant, his mind becomes peaceful. No more he gets bound. That is the Sthita Prajna Lakshana. It's a sadhana also. In the sadhana, the mind gains pleasantness. It becomes placiditude. It becomes placid. It becomes placid. The mind remains peaceful, even though the senses are moving in the sensory objects. Prasadamati gacchati. This is a very sound advice for a worldly person, for a sadhaka in the world. Just remove the attachment and aversion. That's all. And live in the world. You will not get bound by anything. And when the mind becomes pleasant, next sloka. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasyopajayate prasanna chetaso hyashu buddhih paryavatishthate. These two verses are very important for a practical purpose in the world. We need not give up our activity in the world. What we have to give up is this attachment and aversion. Compulsion, you can say compulsion. Only if I get this, I will do. A mild attachment, Yoga Vasishta says, mild attachment. That mild attachment is okay. because without that you cannot live in the world. A mild attachment in the surface. Deeper level, if you know the truth that everything is evanescent, nothing is real, then you will not hold with scorpionic grip. You know that everything will ultimately die. So you have a mild attachment. Manda. That manda raga. With that attachment, you are able to do the worldly activities. But it is not putting a deeper mark in your mind. What we call as raga is something which can tie you to suffering, bind you to suffering. No, Lalita Sahasranama is for Divine Mother. Who is she? She is Mahamaya. And she catches hold of you, keeps you under suffering by binding you with attachment. Raga Swarupa Pashadya. Krodhakara Ankushojjvala. Raga is the pasha with which she ties you, she tethers, she binds you. And Krodhakara Ankusha. Ankusha means the hook. யானை எல்லாம் படிக்கிற சாதனம் என்ன சொல்லுங்க? Goad. So Ankushojjvala. So with attachment and aversion, you are kept in Maya. We can see this, even Buddha also found only this, that attachment is the cause for suffering. Sangha is the cause for suffering. And Bhagavata says, Satsangad Mukta Dussanga. The easiest way to give up Sangha is to have Sangha with Sadhu. Satam Prasangat. With deep attachment to saints, contact with saints, you lose attachment to world. There were many devotees who had great family responsibilities, but they lived with Bhagavan Ramana all their life. Thus they were totally unaware of the worldly duties and worldly problems. Everything were there, but they were unaware. Whenever necessary, they went and did whatever their duty is. But it was like a protecting shield. Sango yas samsriter hetuhu asatsu vihitaha adhiya sayeva sadhushu kritaha nisangatvaya kalpate. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Kapila Bhagavan says, Sango yas samsriter hetu. Sangha is the cause for samsara. Samsara means what? Misery, suffering, trouble. Attachment to asat means to unreal gives you suffering. Sayeva sadhushu kritaha. The same attachment, when you give it, channelize it towards Bhagavan and devotees and listening to the scriptures, such things, nisangatvaya kalpate. Slowly you get released from this disease of attachment. You are healed of this illness. Mind becomes very peaceful. So that is all practical upadesha from Bhagavata. So here Bhagavan also says, this raga is very difficult. In Bhagavatam, Gopikas, they say, because of our raga to you, Krishna, we have lost all raga to world. Itara raga vismaranam nrinam. Jayatite dhikam janmana vraja. That is the tune, no? And people will sing Itara raga vismaranam nrinam. It is not like that. Itara raga vismaranam. If you sing like that, no meaning will come. Itara raga vismaranam nrinam. Itara raga vismaranam. Attachment to itara means the other, unreal things is gone. It vanishes when you are attached to Bhagavan, attached to saints, attached to bhakti, attached to sadhana, attached to spiritual life. So that is the positive, simple way of releasing you, unwinding you from this pasha. Somehow we have to escape, Death is waiting there. Old age, death, disease. And you die with ignorance. You go from here with return ticket. Two-way ticket. Oh, come back. And again start suffering. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi school gamanam, office gamanam, punarapi vivaha, punarapi kolande, progeny. All difficulties continue, no? All difficulties continue. See, just think about that. See, we are living like this because we are called Dirgha Sutri. Dirgha Sutri means there was a fish in a pond. Bhishma says this story. And this fish heard fishermen discussing that tomorrow we will come and spread out the net and catch hold of all these fish from this pond. Some intelligent fish were there, they all escaped. But this fish, it is Dirgha Sutri called. It says, tomorrow they will not come. Tomorrow is Sunday. They will not come. And Monday they will be tired, they will not come. At last they came and caught hold of that fish. Like that, we are under the, what we call it, a smugness. Like that we stay, no? Nothing will happen. So like that, ultimately till death visits you, going on eating idli, forgetting about all the suffering, only eating, drinking, sleeping. This is called Dirgha Sutri. The person is procrastinating king. King of procrastination. So that is what is happening, no? So Ragadvesha is keeping us bound to this world. Because of attachment, we are never able to start our spiritual journey. Tomorrow, this tomorrow will never come. Either now or never is the law. When should we think about God? Now. Yamasya karuna nasti kartavyam hari kirtanam. That one person is devoid of any compassion, that is God of death. He will visit you at any moment, we do not know. Be awake. Be awake. Enough of the sleep. Thousands of years you have slept. Now is the time to wake up and be free of this attachment and aversion business. I want this, I don't want that. See, aversion also is equally will make us suffering, because life will not decide what should be given to a person. It brings in various sufferings, various difficulties as our prarabdha. We do not know what our prarabdha train is going to unload. We know by our own experience that things happened in our life without asking us. And in future also we do not know what are we waiting for. This is why we are named Dirgha Sutri. So many sufferings have already come. And still, we do not know what great thing is going to happen. So when these things are coming like this, dvesha, I don't want, there is no use by saying, I don't want these things to happen. Prakriti will not hear your don't want. She will run over you. So, devoid of attachment and aversion. Renunciation is not renunciation of family, renunciation of world, renunciation of outer things. You have to renounce, in fact, renounce everything. Everything, including your body, your mind, your ego, your intellect, your ideals, your desire, your attachment, your aversion, your I. That can happen only through jnana, not by outer giving up. This outer giving up is only, you don't want anything. Because when you choose God, everything falls off. Very little food, living a simple life, that is enough. That is sheer intelligence. But real giving up happens only through jnana, not through outer sannyasa. The real giving up happens when the inner awakening happens and you know that the world, the body, the mind, the ego are all superimposed on the self. And you no more touch anything with your thinking. Raga means getting pasted. That is raga. The meaning of raga is getting pasted. Ranjate. That dhatu means is coloring. Ranjana means coloring. Like that raga, what happens? It colors your mind. When you, like a spatika, you keep a crystal and behind it keep a red flower. It will look red. You remove the flower, no color. Like that, this raga makes you, appears you colored. Actually, the real nature is not colored, but appears you, puts you under the spell of various colors. So, attachment and aversion, giving up these two, you can be happy in the world. Whatever comes, happy. Once old people takes to this idea, they will be very happy. Otherwise, soon they will find themselves in old age home. Shankaracharya says, Vartam pruchati kopina gehe. Nobody is enquiring whether you are alive or not. Nobody is talking. See, when some old person is there in house, they need attention. Somebody has to go. But the risk is you can only go, not come back easily. Because they have no work to do. You have so much work to do. So once you give your ears, you get caught. That is the problem of old age, which Shankaracharya says. But if the old person knows this secret of never getting attached to anything, before entering old age, real sannyasa has to happen. Not involved in anything, happily living in oneself, learn and adapt in meditation, an accomplished, spiritually accomplished soul, adapt in meditation. You can spend your time in reading the scriptures, doing japa, meditating, whatever food comes, happy. And Manu Smriti says, when the food is put in your plate, you have to just praise the food. So it's very tasty, very tasty. And the person who is inside kitchen should feel happy to feed you. Otherwise they have the complaint, whatever you give, you say more salt. It is too bitter, not tasty. So they don't like feeding you. They are fed up with feeding you. So says food is very tasty. See, when you live in tapas, food will taste. It will be very, very tasty. After Ekadashi, Dwadashi, it will be very tasty. Whatever you ate. Like that, you have a very disciplined life. Wake up early in the morning, you have your own corner in your house where you know how to live happily, not concerned about anything happening around. Udasina, that indifferent to the world. Completely involved with God. Generally, this indifference is a wrong word, but it appears indifferent. You are not, wherever you are needed, you go and do help, if possible. Otherwise, you are happy. By the time you become very, very old, you have removed these two fangs of raga and dvesha, attachment and aversion, and the mind is ever peaceful. Meditating on the Lord, chanting the Nama. You have no time to talk to others. Then the magic will happen. Others will say, Tata is not talking. Party is not talking. They are ever engaged. They will love to come and speak to, because naturally where there is peace, where there is love, it naturally attracts other things also. Otherwise, in a villages we know, old people, they have nothing to do. Always sitting outside the house, waiting for catching hold of somebody. So we used to, very afraid to go in front of that house. They will say, what are you? See, village, everyone is free. Everyone. It's not that nowadays we are all private, so private. Privacy. This is our house. That is not like that. Some old party will fire you. Why are you going in this blazing sun? Why don't you sit in your house? Some old party, old lady even got fired Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. When he was wandering in Arunachala, he said, why don't you stay in a place? In Tamil, she used a very, very abusive word. She said, Pada ila poda. You will be taken in structure, she said. Why don't you stay in a place? Why are you wandering about in this blazing sun? So, if such old grannies are found, people will run some other way. So, I am just mixing things. The thing is, through life, Brahmacharyashrama, Grihastha-ashrama, naturally we will get caught by Ragadvesha, attachment, aversion. And Vanaprastha means what? Vanam means what? Shankaracharya says Vanam means meditation. Prasthana means going. Means taking a resolve to meditate. Taking a resolve, Vananiyam, Sambhajaniyam, worshipping the Lord, doing bhakti. So, taking a resolve, that meaning suits modern days. Because where will you search for Vanam? If you say Vanaprastham forest means you put internet, you have to see Amazon forest from Tiruvannamalai. No forest is visible. Tiruvannamalai, of course, some forest is there, but if you go inside this forest, people will put you in jail. You cannot go. So, forest means not outside forest. Outside forest is also beautiful. Certain people can do that. Certain people have such solitary austerity in such places. They are blessed. But generally, even in a small room, you can have Vanaprastha. Wherever you have. Because when you grow old, when you reach almost the age of 50, you slowly drop many things. You are able to endure cold and heat. Very different interpretation. Shastra says, We think we become older, we become weaker. So you should have more comforts. That is our modern idea. In younger days you should have less comforts, but when you become older, you should be more comfortable. But Shastras, you know what they say? In Grihastha Ashrama, family life, you can have all comforts. But after that, in Vanaprastha, slowly you step towards spiritual life. You train your body, mind to endure all difficulties. Slowly you train yourself to endure cold, heat, because now you are moving towards the body is going to become more and more weaker. Then you become more and more stronger by enduring. It's a preparation for sannyasa. To live alone, to be free of all attachment and aversion, because even if you are attached, the persons to whom you are attached are going to leave you, or you are going to leave them. So before getting free of them, you are inwardly free. Before they are going to leave you, you leave them. This is Vanaprastha. So you unwind yourself, release yourself from the two chains of attachment and aversion, raga and dvesha. Then what happens? You live in the world. The senses becomes very mild when raga dvesha is removed. They become very mild. Then you can use them in the sensory plane. Whatever food is given, you eat, you sleep, you do your duty, everything is done, but there is no strong involvement, strong attachment is not there. You are like before, but not too much attachment. Atmavashyir. Your mind is under the hold of the Atman. Means there is always a partial meditative state in you. You have trained yourself in such a way that you will be meditating thrice. Pratah Sandhya, Madhyandina Savana, and evening Sandhya, Sayam Sandhya. This is exclusive meditation. But in between also, your mind is always in a mood of partial meditation. There is always a brooding meditativeness in you, which protects you from ragadvesha. And ragadvesha disturbs that meditation. You become more and more aware that if you are deeply attached to something and averse to something, it disturbs your meditative state. So slowly you cleanse yourself. You keep yourself untouched by disturbing elements. So ragadvesha viyukte atmavashyehi, that is the word. The senses and the mind are always carrying a fragrance of that meditative state. Kind of holding is there. The senses are held by the Atman. The mind is held by the Atman means what? Atma Jnana. With the Atma Tattva Jnana. There are many methods employed according to the state of the sadhaka. In a higher state, the sadhaka employs that whatever the senses are beholding is Atman. Atma Purastad, Atma Pashad, Atma Purastad, Atma Dakshinataha, Atmottaradah, Atmai Vedam Sarvam. The Shruti says everything is Atman. Behind is Atman. In front is Atman. Right side, left side, above, below. Every thought, every emotion, every feeling, everything is nothing but that pure self, that consciousness, that Atman alone exists. Atmai Vedam Sarvam. Everything is Atman, nothing else exists other than Atman. With this constant meditation, he is living in the world. Whatever might be his prarabdha is undergoing, but always aware that nothing other than the Atman exists. Then his samadhi is constant. Dukkha comes because of ignorance. Dukkha means vikalpa. Dukkha means other thing. The world, the ego, the mind, all this brings in suffering. When the mind is prasanna, it is tranquil, it is devoid of duality, devoid of any conflict, then there is an end of dukkha. This was the epitome of spiritual experience which Buddha was searching. How to end dukkha, how to end suffering, how to find an end, full stop for misery. So here Bhagavan says, Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasyopajayate prasanna chetaso hyashu buddhih paryavatishthate. When the mind is prasanna, tranquil, sarva dukkhanam hani, all the miseries, sufferings come to an end. Prasanna chetasaha, when the mind is crystal clear, buddhi, the intellect, or you can call the pure mind, paryavatishthate, it is anchored in the supreme, in the self. It abides in the real nature. The intellect abides in the real nature. So that verse we will see tomorrow. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. Yato mamatma bhavasi tvameva, tato na vachyam mama kinjitasti, yathataveshtam kurumam tathaiva, tvam atmanatham ramanam bhaja.